strikes a fast form of drugs. In the course of my videos, I have 8 or 9 weapons demonstrations. I want you to think about how I can transfer these skills to sparring, and how, if I displayed the same skills in sparring, I could transfer them to combat or demonstrations. That's part of why they're called transferable skills. The first thing I want to say is, it is very disgraceful that we live in a society where gang members, former criminals, and current criminals understand how society works a lot better than even some of the more educated people in mainstream society. That is very disconcerting, disheartening, and disgraceful. It is perturbing, to say the least. We live in such a criminal state that only career criminals truly grasp how deep it goes. And law enforcement that have been taught to turn a blind eye to it. And of course, the criminals themselves and the secret societies. All you people that think you're so smart, I want to remind you that your understanding of your own society tends to be less than your average criminal, your local street gang member, or even the typical kleptomaniac or petty thief. But yet you want to make fun of people like me who have done their research, 10,000 valid sources. I didn't just read some random website, put on a tinfoil hat, and say that the reptilians are after me. Motherfuckers. I have 175 IQ. I did Algebra 2 in pre-kindergarten. I scored the top 1 percentile on the SSAT. I have a college degree. 10,000 valid sources, and I've been looking into this thing for some 22 years or so. Before you think that I should take my meds or stop making videos or any bitch shit that you inferior minds think, I want to remind you again that your understanding of this pharmaceutical eugenic state is less than that of your local thief or thieves. Just some food for thought. Furthermore, nothing that I am describing in my videos is contrary to common sense or what you wouldn't expect. What do you think it means to have vested interest? Vested interest creates unholy alliances. Politically, socially, historically, scientifically. When are you people going to wake up and realize you live in a criminal state? Society has been divided by criminals. And they try not to step on each other's toes for the most part, because then it sheds light on what's going on when they go to war with each other. That's why the mafia came up with the commission. And even before they came up with the commission, if someone was to say that these mafia factions are eventually going to stop fighting and start working together, what kind of a dumbass would say, that's a conspiracy theory? No, it's what you would expect, motherfucker. Business. You people don't understand business and the kind of criminals, the kind of ruthless, narcissistic hypocrites who end up being the big businessmen and shot callers in a criminal state. All you people on your socially normative horses, your not so high socially normative horses, trying to get me to bend over for Uncle Sam and whatever goat he plays with in a secret society lodge. You got life way fucked up. That's what this next clip is about. Listen carefully when I play this next clip, Fighting for Honor. They want to destroy people like me who have honor and morality. And a lot of these groups, these spiritual bottom feeders, a lot of these institutions and groups have vested interest in destroying morality and those who are pushing it the toughest with all of their hearts. People like me. Even if I didn't have a single video, because of the fact I am pushing morality so tough, all the local social controllers would take note and work together to try to get me to do things in a way that is compatible with what they're trying to do. Why can't you see that? All you naysaying pussies, why can't you see that? This is a war between morality and immorality, selfishness and selflessness. And in order for me to win this war, I must secure my rightful position as the top martial artist. And if I don't, that will be why I failed. And for those of you who don't like it, need I remind you there are countless competitions that reflect different things in different regions. You can have competitions that have to do with katas and tricking. Look what martial arts tricking is. I don't do that. I don't do katas. I don't do forms. I don't break bricks in public. I don't do things like this. I don't, do strong men contests. There's a lot of different areas that are applications of martial arts and physical prowess that people can dabble in to make a name for themselves and to earn a certain amount of respect for themselves and their communities. All I want is my rightful place as the top martial artist when it comes to what martial arts actually are. Combat arts. Traditions of combat. Before I play that one clip I was referring to, let me just play this quick Bruce Lee clip, and then we'll get into it.
I keep on, but it's a combative form of fighting. I mean, it's not, some of them became sport, but some of them are still not. I mean, they're used for anything, kicking to the groin, jacking fingers in the eyes, and things like that.
And notice Bruce Lee said what I say constantly. The off-limit strikes are some of the most effective strikes. So those with the most effective set of percussive skills, are at a disadvantage when it comes to UFC fighting or sports fighting in general, because some of the best places to strike are off limits.
Now you understand the difference between UFC fighting and martial arts from Bruce Lee's mouth. The guy who I'm just as fast as I would like to remind you cowards. One of the differences between fighting and martial arts, as I said many, many times, the difference between sports and martial arts is the gloves, the feet. You can't attack the eyes, and in many cases not the neck. You can't attack the groin.
By the way, this is the clip from my 2015, September 15 video on my Robot channel. Bruce Lee versus the top martial artist in America, just as fast as Bruce Lee, where I demonstrate I'm just as fast as he is. So I've been saying this on record for a long time. This is not an argument I just began after my top martial artist challenge. I've been saying this for years.
So therefore, you've pretty much ruled out a lot of the things that make striking worthwhile. And here you'll see Bruce Lee agree with me. And if you truly think about it, sparring is the closest thing you can do in a competition that's not a real fight to determine who is actually the best in martial arts, combat skills, fighting skills, sparring, and self-defense.
I mean, that is the expression of the human body. I mean, everything. I mean, not just the hand. And when you're talking about combat, well, I mean, it is a sport. Now you're talking about something else. You have regulations, you have rules. But when you're talking about fighting, it is.
Notice even the guy who's interviewing him says, yes, real fighting. So with me, I separate even on, matter of fact, I'll use that in the picture. It says $4,000 top martial artist challenge champion. Sparring shows transferable skills for actual combat arts, not sports fighting. And I'm sure if Bruce Lee was alive, he would agree that the only way to prove it the most effectively is to fight to the death, okay, which is dishonorable, and nobody in their right mind is going to agree to that, you know, to prove it. So the most logical way to prove it, which allows you to challenge and, you know, take on a lot of people in your lifetime. I have over 100 victories, no losses. Take on a lot of people without maiming and killing people all over the place, which is dishonorable, obviously. Even to draw blood, you know, is pretty dishonorable. Is to do it with sparring. So let's play that clip one more time. We'll wrap it up.
With no fighting, modern day you better train with fighting is with no fighting, modern day you better train every part of your body.
In the past, I have emphasized page 11 and page 12. Stop ending at the first paragraph, talking about the accompanying moral code. The most honored of ancestors, being a transcendent hero, martial ways, and the admiration of potential wives, and more. But this time I'm going to start with the second paragraph. I'm not going to read it all. Page 12, again, the book Fighting for Honor. The importance of following these African martial arts into the Americas becomes clear when one considers that while it was economic in its objective, the slave system was ultimately held together by physical and symbolic, real or threatened, violence. Therefore, it should not be surprising that at times African combat traditions were used in the Americas as forms of self-defense against the violence. Many of the bondsmen who rose up in the Haitian Revolution may have relied on previous military experience and their stick and machete fighting arts. While such skills were at times used as forms of direct resistance, martial arts were more often used as means to fight for honor within the confines of bondage. So you see the weapons are referenced as a form of self-defense and resistance and fighting for honor. So to the martial artist, when you look at it historically, you put it in context for what it was actually used for, the most important parts of it, you would be insane to miss the fact that the skills that I'm emphasizing are the essence of martial arts. You would be insane. Back to page 11. Although the Biafran grappling and the Angolan percussive arts were stylistically very different, both fulfilled similar social roles. Both were used as a form of entertainment when practiced to music, a form of dueling to settle personal scores, a ritualized form of conflict resolution, or a form of battlefield training for young soldiers. Central to all contexts is the concept of honor for the practitioner and often for the community through the honored practitioner. Mastery in either art could bring a skilled practitioner respect for his graceful execution, the admiration of potential wives, and economic advancement. Each art provided a path of spiritual development that could take an exceptional adept to one of the highest forms of honor in Africa, the status of a transcendent hero. Someone who was initiated into full mastery of Ngolo could become a special kind of ancestor, one who could manifest physically in the bodies of his descendants. Similarly, the Biafran art of Umba and its cognates could serve as a tool to achieve the highest of honors. A master of the martial art de Umba who remained true to the accompanying moral code could become a transcendent hero, the most honored of ancestors, who could be called upon for guidance in important matters and could reincarnate among the living while retaining a position among the dead ancestors. In this sense, both Ngolo and Umba could be understood as martial arts, and more specifically as martial ways in the strict sense. So although, for example, I was not recognized as a certified and official Crip gang member during my years of hanging out with the Crips, I was certainly the spiritual leader. None of them have done anything I have done culturally, in black culture, even African American culture, in which they could say that they have outdone me spiritual. So I was leading them. I wasn't leading them in the sense of being a dictator or something. I was leading the pack by a good bit. Okay? So when you look at this thing, right? I have a certain amount of admiration of wives, of potential wives, but it's nowhere near what it should be. Those who are aware of my videos give me admiration and respect, even the gang stalkers who troll. They're just not allowed to say so. But in their own little ways, they do at times. We look at the spiritual development, the honor, the accompanying moral code. Remember, they said he could be called upon for guidance in important matters. Part of this, culturally and traditionally, is to consider the personal philosophy of the transcendent hero. And who is more transcendent than I am? Who has carried their cross and adhered to sacred morality more than I have? Who has conquered the enemies in a more profound way than I have? The African American community especially owes me the admiration of potential wives, and I will not forget that they tried to get me to sell out instead of giving me it. You are not to try to get a spiritual, transcendent hero to compromise or give him conditions or demands. You are supposed to observe, respect, and give him his just reward for his great achievement. This is what it means to be African and African American, the most important place that they overlap. And to those of you who think that martial arts are irrelevant, the only reason there are Igbos or any other African tribe is because of martial arts. Otherwise, they would have been annihilated. Martial arts are referenced in Egyptian mythology, Igbo mythology, Angolan, on and on and on. Even the gods do their own forms of martial arts, with weapons and without. So to take such a thing lightly, when even in the Bible you have martial art applications, such as, I believe, Jacob wrestling with God, you have wars that include fighting arts, it becomes central to being a human being, to admire and respect martial artists. And if one is to be honest and to act with integrity, they must give me my rightful position if they cannot take it from me in the given time. And I have been more than generous with my time and my money in proving this irrefutable fact. Thank you.